consideration around you, please turn off your cell phone and other electronic devices. We have a roll call, please.
Mrs. Shoup?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Denala? Here. Mrs. Jenkins? Here. Mr. Augustine?
Here.
Mr. Fodor?
Present.
Mr. Hack?
Here. Can I have an approval of our agenda? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Who's Laurie?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes carry. The invocation tonight will be given by Mr. Jim Fodor. Please stand and then we'll call about the pledge of allegiance.
Bow your heads. Almighty God, you have set before us the responsibility of the city. We ask your guidance and direction that we, the members of council, may do what is best for the people that live here. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our minutes from our regular meeting from 11/19, special meeting 11/19, and special meeting 11/26/18. Can I get a motion to accept the meeting, our minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Sorry, who was there first? Kate, thank you.
Katie, saying it's her birthday.
Mrs. Shoup?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Denala?
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Augustine?
Yes.
Mr. Fodor?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
Yes, the minutes are approved. Public comments from visitors. We will now recognize visitors. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak when called upon. Please use the podium. Clearly state your name and address into the microphone and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Any dialogue must be conducted through me as president of council. Although your comments, questions can be addressed to the council, administration, or both. Seeing none, we have committee reports. Tonight, we have a report from the Downtown Phase Home Organization.
We had a board of directors meeting on November 28th for the Downtown Page organization. Our mission is to build a strong future in a diverse community where everyone is welcome. To give a little background of our first motion, on November the 7th, the board was notified that our president for 2019, Lori Kerner, had been offered and had accepted the role of magistrate for Judge Colleen Fulkowski, effective November 26th. So many congratulations to Lori, but unfortunately she had to resign from the DPO and would not be our president for next year. So our first motion was we went to approve Maureen Conway as the 2019 president, and that passed. Maureen was our secretary, so that left the open spot as a secretary. That motion, there was a second motion to have Stephanie Evans fill the 2019 secretary position, and that also passed. Under new business, we had discussed the Founders Day breakfast, which happens every year, and this year will be at Lake Erie College. And this year's topic is women's right to vote, and I will bring more information back on that as it develops. Other than that, they were just wrapping up things in 2018 and starting to work on calendar events, work plans, and budget for 2019. And that's all.
Thank you. We have a committee report from the Planning and Board of Zoning Appeals.
Good evening. The Planning Commission met on November 8th, and under their administrative report, they had the annual review of the conditional use permit that was issued to the Steel Mansion for the operation of their inn. And part of their annual review, the Commission requested that City Council examine Chapter 1143.07 G4 under special requirements for conditional uses in order to determine whether or not the requirements that are imposed on inns, for one, an annual review of the conditional use permit conditions, and two, the requirement that a certificate of compliance be renewed on an annual basis should be changed or eliminated. So we were given the direction to look at that, and in 2019 we will be bringing language back. and look at what could maybe be modified. I know the planning commission had asked that it possibly be a tiered process. I know the in language was added back in 2010 or 11. I know the in became operational in 2012. The in was created to allow them to be a conditional use permit in the R2 district. So those requirements were placed on there as a means to monitor the activity at that location. So we will look at some recommendations to bring back. Additionally, they looked at a preliminary design review for design review plans for 150 Menor Avenue, which is going to be the new location for Painesville Dental Group. They are going to be constructing a new dental office at that location, and they did get approval on their design as the planning commission is the design review board. And for Board of Zoning Appeals, they met on November 15th, and NRP Properties was before them regarding the property at 955, 985 Menor Avenue. That is the senior living facility with the community center. They had to request a variance for their side yard setback for their parking, and they were granted that. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you. I'll move into legislation. If you wish to comment on legislation, you must request to do so at this time. Those who make such a request will be called upon after the reading. Any dialogue must be conducted through me as president of the council. Although your comments or questions will be addressed to the council, administration or both. Ordinance number 1.
An ordinance to make appropriate. Sorry. Just public comment.
Yeah, and then ordinance number 2. Okay. Ordinance number 1.
Okay.
Thank you.
An ordinance to make appropriations for the current expenses and expenditures of the city of Painesville, state of Ohio, for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2019, and adopting the operating budget and declaring an emergency.
Good evening. Tonight we're going to go over the utilities budget and the 2019 proposed capital budget. The total proposed budget for 2019 is going to be $84 million. This is a 7% increase from 2018. Whoa, slow down.
And we're done.
Any questions? Any questions? Good? Good. All right. Have a good night. Okay, and if you guys have questions, feel free to hop right in. Start with the electric fund. The total proposed budgeted revenues is just going to be under $28 million. This is a 5% increase from 2018. Expenses are going to be $28.4 million. This is an 8% increase. The reason for the increase is the purchase power for purchasing electric is increasing from 15 million to 17 million for the year. And the electric fund for 2019 is going to have a budget deficit of over $650,000. This shows what the total budgets are going back to 2015. Well, 2015 through 2017 are actual expenses. 18 and 19 are the budgeted expenses for Fund 730, which is the operating fund for the electric fund, and Fund 732, which is where we pay for all the capital out of the electric fund. The majority of the electric's money is spent on the utilities, and this is for the purchase power, which will be $17 million in 2019. They're also proposing to spend 15% of their budget on capital. It's going to be about $4.1 million. This slide shows their total capital of just over $1 million and all their expenses. Now, there also is going to be electric capital of $3.1 million. It's not included in this. It was included in Doug's budget, but it is going to be paid for out of the electric fund, and that's to bury electric wires at the new High Point Center for the future development of that project. get into water. Proposed revenues for water is $4.6 million. This is there's less than a 1% increase from 2018. And then the expenses are going to be $4.7 million. This is a decrease of 3%. The reason for the decrease, this fund has paid off some debt, and so we don't have to make a $250,000 debt payment in 2019. This fund will be operating at a deficit of just under $40,000 in 2019. However, this fund is slightly better than it was in 2018, it had a budget deficit of almost $190,000. In the water funds, its main expenses will be for capital outlay, $9.3 million going towards capital. Of that, $8 million is going to be spent on the continuation of the water intake, which should be completed in hopefully summer or fall of 2019. These are the water fund's capital projects. Pine Hill water line replacement, almost $500,000. This is depending on a grant that we're trying to get. If we get the grant, then we'll definitely be going forward with this. Button Road water line replacement, that's about $350,000, but that's pending a grant as well. You'll see Carbon Peaks system, about $100,000. Constructing the new water intake, $8 million, and the city is receiving an interest-free loan for that, and it's going to save the city $3 to $5 million over the total life of the loan. And then there's a lot of improvements that they're trying to do at the plant. At the sewer plant, revenues are estimated at just under $4 million, which is a 3% increase from 2018. The reason for the increase, probably about 4 years ago, if council remembers, you approved a 3% rate hike for 10 years for the sewer revenues. And that's why those revenues went up. The expenses are going to be just under $4 million. These are a 5% increase from 2018 as well. And this fund will be operating at a deficit of just over $43,000 in 2019. The sewer plant's main expenses are for personnel and benefits. This is going to be $2.6 million. And then their total capital is going to be, just for the sewer, it's going to be $425,000. With the main one is $250,000 being spent for Jackson Street sewer repairs. We have to do this because we will be paving Jackson Street in 2019. Stormwater, we're proposed revenues at $1.7 million. This is an increase of almost $700,000 from 2018. The reason for the increase is the city will be getting more level 2 monies from the county to pay for our capital projects. Our expenses will be $1.8 million. This is an increase of over $500,000 from 2018. The reason for the increase is, like I said, we are doing more capital projects on the sewer, on the stormwater sewers. This will have a budget deficit of just over $140,000 in 2019. And at the bottom, it shows you we're planning on doing over $1.3 million in capital improvements on the stormwater, with doing $600,000 for Maplewood, $600,000 for Leonard Jackson, and also $150,000 for to be set aside for the Bank Street repair. Quick overview of the capital. We're proposing to spend $19.6 million on 2019 capital. A lot of this is going towards the water intake, which is going to be $8 million. 2.4 million will be spent on paving roads and repairing sidewalks. Over $4 million is going to be spent from the electric fund, with over $3 million to bury electric cables at the High Point Center. And the stormwater projects is going to be $1,350,000. And there's 3 projects for the stormwaters. Total road projects for 2019 is going to be just under $2.4 million. The biggest expense is going to be $1.4 million going towards Jackson Street. Ian and Doug did a great job in getting a grant, and so there's going to be offsetting monies for that. We're also going to do Button, we're going to do the Skinner Avenue design, Bank Street erosion control, Cedar Brook, and then we also have $250,000 for road repair projects that still yet to be determined which ones we're going to do. And then $30,000 is going to sidewalk improvements for the city. Any questions? And just real quick, this shows what what the capital is being spent on, and the vast majority of it is being spent on the water construction fund, which is for the water intake. Next largest is the electric construction fund, which the biggest project there is to bury the electric cables. That's it. Any questions?
So, when all the funds are in a deficit, where does that money come from?
We are eating into the carryover balances that the city has grown.
No more questions or comments, so we'll leave this on second reading. Moving to ordinance number 2, first reading.
An ordinance creating a tax increment financing incentive district, declaring improvements to the parcels within the incentive district to be a public purpose and exempt from real property taxation, requiring the owners of those parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of those service payments, specifying the public infrastructure improvements that benefit or serve parcels in the incentive district, and authorizing payments to the Riverside Local School District and the Auburn Career Center.
Before we get started, I just want to give you kind of an overview of what a TIF district is. A TIF district essentially reallocates funds from property taxes to encourage investment within the district. Any increased tax revenues collected as a result of an increase in property values then goes into the TIF fund and can be used for a wide range of purposes within the TIF to promote redevelopment and infrastructure that really benefits the district. The legislation before you tonight does a variety of different things. It creates an incentive district and identifies specific requirements that the city is required to follow under the Ohio Revised Code. It defines that funds will be used for infrastructure improvements that benefit the district. It establishes a TIF fund at the city, so that fund will be created, and any monies from the district or that are generated from the district will go into that fund. It establishes the distribution of funds by the county treasurer, and it also provides for the service payments. And basically all that is directs the people that are within the district or the property owners within the district that they will make service payments, which is basically their taxes. And it authorizes the city manager to take any action necessary to establish the TIF fund. What are we proposing here? We're proposing a tax increment financing district on 5 parcels of land that were formerly owned by Limco. The current owner is Encore Development. As council is aware, with the settlement agreement came a new owner of the property who is now Encore Development. The total acreage is approximately 87 acres, and we're proposing 100% TIF over 30 years. The next slide will give you an idea of where that TIF district is located. This is State Route 44. State Route 2 is up here basically, but this is the CSX railroad tracks. And State Route 44, Jackson Street is down in this general area. So the TIF district is located to the north of Jackson Street, south of the railroad track, CSX railroad tracks, east of Heisley Park. This is Heisley Park over in here, and west of State Route 44. These are the 5 parcels that we're talking about creating or including within the TIF district. The reason that we're talking about this is more or less to generate some additional funding and promote development within the district. One of the things that we've been talking about since I've been here is the State Route 44 interchange and trying to move the Jackson Street interchange further to the north and create a full functioning interchange, which would also service Renaissance Parkway and also the Heisley area and Jackson Street area, because with that would come the relocation of Jackson Street with the county engine, which the county engineer has proposed as well. You can use the TIF monies, as I explained, for a variety of different purposes, extending utilities, water, sewer, and electric, and also making roadway improvements within that general area. So the TIF funding would be used mainly for the State Route 44 interchange and serve as our local match for that interchange. That project is about a $30 million project at this time, so it provides some of the majority of the matching money for the interchange. That's all I have at this time. This legislation does have to go 3 readings. The final reading will be on the 31st, which is a special meeting. And we have up to this point been following the process. We have been in contact with the school districts, and we have an agreement with Riverside School District. We have met with the county commissioners, and are also meeting with the Auburn Career Center. So in following the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code, we are doing that, and this is also part of it. In addition to that, we did have a public meeting on the 26th where individuals were allowed to come out, specifically property owners, and voice their opinion for or against the creation of the TIF. And we did not have any opposition at that time.
Yeah.
How much is this expected to generate over its lifetime of 30 years?
It's a hard question right now. I mean, we're reviewing it with our bond counsel, but it'll generate between $8 and $10 million that we could use to bond out the interchange.
That's in 30 years?
Over a 30-year period, because a lot of that, what you pay is when you bond it out, you also pay the interest on that as well.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll leave this on 2nd reading. Thank you. Unfinished business, we're discussing the sidewalk program. Leanne?
Hello. Evening. So at the budget hearing, the question was, it come up that why that did come to cutting. So we looked into it, And Precision Concrete Cutting is the only company with this technology. So we decided to do the pros and the cons of concrete cutting. So the pros are that it can be ADA compliant, it could be cost effective, could be superior to grinding, since the grinders are unable to reach the edges. It would produce less dust than grinding, and it would be precisely flush. And it's, according to them, it's the fastest technique on the market. So, and then the cons is that no one else on the market has this type of technology except for Precision Concrete Cutting. So we would be concerned about their availability to perform the work. The aesthetics, while Precision Concrete Cutting promises a smooth, flat, slip-resistant finish, it is still a repair and will not have the aesthetic appeal of a new concrete finish. The structural integrity, if we cut the sidewalk, we have reduced the depth of 4 inches. They said that they wouldn't cut any more than 1.5 inches, but with our sidewalk plows going over it, the concern is that it would cause cracking, and then whose responsibility would that be? Would that still stay on the homeowner because they chose this route, or would that then become a city responsibility? Cutting also exposes the aggregate, increasing the probability of falling, eroding, or chipping. And then, as I stated, the concrete in our code, it states that it has to be 4 inches thick or 6 inches thick if it's within the apron. So if you cut it, now you have created a non-compliant sidewalk block. And then it's also a temporary fix, because if the tree roots are the source of the problem that's causing it to heave, then it's just going to continue to heave, and we will continue to have this issue. Our recommendation is that we move forward with the tree program as we had already gotten approval from council to do. This would include the removal of approximately 160 trees in order to eliminate the cause of the sidewalk violations on city responsible sidewalks. We did, however, talk to Precision Concrete, and they are willing to come out and do a demonstration. So I was thinking that Veterans Park would be a good place, since we've got a lot of uneven sidewalks through there, and it's used by vehicles, pedestrians, everything. So we're going to go ahead and do that this spring and see how it holds up to all the traffic that goes through there. And then the other concern that
I have
yeah.
a few things.
Okay.
First off, I talked to the gentleman that owned this company, or was a representative, when I went to the Ohio Municipal League, and they have been doing this for 1 or 2 years, and I believe Rocky River and, is it Lakewood? I think those 2 cities have used this. So there should be, I think if we talk with Rocky River and Lakewood, they give some indication of your concern about the sidewalk cracking and things of that nature.
Correct. So I did talk with Rocky River and
Okay.
Lakewood, and they do not plow the sidewalks. They don't offer the same types of services
Okay.
that the city of Painesville does, which
Right.
then puts us in more of a liability.
Then you may want to talk to the gentleman again and see if there is a city that's comparable to us that actually do plow sidewalks, to see if there is something we can talk to.
And I tried to ask him that question, but he didn't have the answer for me.
I'm sure.
He had a lot of more southern cities that he had done, like
Right.
around Cincinnati and stuff. He didn't have a whole lot up north here.
Correct.
So,
My other thing about the trees and the sidewalk uprooting again, there's a person that lives in my neighborhood that has had a tree, in fact, 2 trees in their front yard real close to where I live, in fact, right in front of my house, that 25 years ago, the owner themselves did the work and replaced the sidewalk. We took out the old sidewalk. The city came with a stump grinder and ground out the roots. And we put 4 inches, well, we followed the code. And it's been 25 years since that has occurred. And it's just recently, over the last couple of years, that the sidewalk is actually, we have 2 circles in front of our house. So for 25 years, this has been an okay solution. I guess what I'm asking council is just to think about 160 trees in the city. Now, that's 160 trees, that might be, 125 or 160 homeowners that may not be happy campers that are taking these trees out. There is an
If you
inside.
let her finish her presentation, she.
Oh, I thought, never mind. Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
That's okay. So the other concern that was brought up was, the council had recently presented a proposal to allow residents to replace city responsible sidewalks in order to keep the trees in the right of way. So we did the pros and cons of that as well. So the pros is it allows the homeowners to have large established trees in the right of way outside of their homes that limit angry customers, and it keeps our beautiful tree-lined streets. The cons are that the liability of the tree roots and the heated sidewalks are still owned by the city. And we're unsure how to legally transfer that liability to the property, not just to the current resident, but to the property forever. And then if it's sold, how does the new owner know? And so it brings up a lot of legal issues. And then the second thing is if the homeowner wants to keep the tree and the tree starts decaying, who would be responsible then for removing the decaying tree, because the city would have already removed that tree. So again, that it's all about liability and limiting that liability from the city. So our recommendation is that we continue to move forward with the sidewalk program and the tree removal as we already established and have approved.
Tom?
I have a question about the sidewalks. Some of the sidewalks are heaved due to temperature changing and freezing in the winters and everybody up. And has anyone looked into, or the city into lifting the sidewalk and smoothing the ground underneath and putting the sidewalk back down? Because I know I have a friend who actually did that to his sidewalk in front of his house. He had someone come over and actually somehow lift up the slab and remove the dirt or whatever was causing it to heave.
Right, and the homeowners have that option.
They can do that?
They have come and talked to us, and we tell them that that's fine, they can do it. We will inspect it to make sure that, no cracking occurred when they were putting it back. But we have had homeowners do that and do it successfully. It's not that they have to replace every sidewalk block, especially if it's just a differential, but it's coming up with the right method, of fixing it. Some people don't want to go through all that work. They just want to remove it and have it replaced.
It is
So
less expensive though.
it is less expensive, and with the precision concrete, I asked him if he would come out and just do one block for a homeowner, and that would cost a homeowner $500 just to cut one block. He said his minimum is $500. So, it would have to be multiple residents that go with it, or it would have to be included with a city program, which we didn't want to get into city versus homeowner issues.
What does it cost an average homeowner to fix one block of sidewalk?
It's about $250 a square.
Mr.
Would they, just to go along with Tom's suggestion, would they still need a permit and all the rest of the requirements that a sidewalk replacement would have?
Yes, because we still have to go out and do the inspection, and that permit cost covers the cost of our inspection.
So, as I look at your pros and your cons, the recommendation is to let the trees come down. Is there any, if we ask and four of us agree, is that going to make you look into an alternative? The legal piece and so on and so forth, or?
If council decides that they want to keep that liability, we would look into it with our legal counsel, see what we can do. As administration, our job is to give you the best protection for the city, and that's what we're giving you, is that the best protection and limit of liability is to allow us to remove the problem, whatever is causing the problem. And in our work session discussion, we brought up the trees because we personally hate the idea of cutting 160 trees down ourselves and how angry it's going to make a bunch of people. And that's why we talked about the replacement cost of getting $80,000 to get these trees back in. And we thought the council gave us very clear direction to move forward in cutting those trees down and moving forward with that tree program in the future.
Yes,
I
Jim.
do agree that we did talk about that, but I remember in that work session, the coming of the trees, and we did not talk about what if the homeowner, I mean, we all agreed with that, but we didn't talk about in that work session, what if the homeowner wants to fix the sidewalk themselves and keep the tree? I don't remember that. Do you remember us talking about that?
I don't know about that, but I do know this piece, is that if the homeowner's sidewalks are not identified as problematic, then the city is not gonna take any kind of initiative that I would think. So if there's a homeowner out there who wants to not have the tree removed, then they probably should fix the sidewalk before the city identifies it as a problem. Is that, am I crazy in saying that? The other thing I would ask is, if the tree roots are on a tree lawn and they're upheaving the sidewalk, don't we need to worry about what they're doing to the street and everything else that is infrastructure around it, the sewers? So it's not just a matter of, hey, I like the tree and I like the shade, and it's good oxygen, but it's also, how is it affecting all of the infrastructure around it? And again, am I wrong in thinking if there is no issue with the sidewalk and there's a tree there, we're not just going around getting rid of every tree on the tree lawn?
We've already identified 160 trees that have to come down. So
I
I
hear
don't
that.
think there's any residents right now. We're talking moving forward.
No, I'm saying if they fix that sidewalk before the tree is removed, there's no issue, correct?
Well, no, because what I just heard is that there's a legal liability because it's gonna uproot again, because of the roots.
Well, the legal
Even if
liability,
it's 25 years later.
but the legal liability for the sidewalks, Jim, has always been on the homeowner. It's never been on the city.
If it's, well, no, that's not what we were told. We were told that if it's the tree that's on the tree lawn that uproots those, that's city's responsibility.
Okay, or if there's like sewer there.
Right.
Right. But the point of this is, if, and I realize we're in new administration, but in 2010 or 2011, when we discontinued the program, obviously legal liability wasn't an issue to the administration, that administration,
So,
or else we wouldn't.
but the
consider-
administration isn't like going around saying that we're going to be taking down trees out of people's yards.
Well,
It's
yeah.
on tree lawns,
Okay.
correct? So if somebody has a tree out in their yard that is affecting their sidewalk,
It's completely up to them.
it's completely up to them to do. So it's only the trees that are on the tree lawn.
That's true, you're absolutely right.
And to go back to your statement, Lori, if we remove that circles, those two circled sidewalks in front of Jim's house, as I understand it, the trees, even when we show up to replace it, it's already been replaced, that tree is still coming down.
If it's
That's
flat,
what-
the tree is
that's
not
what
coming
I'm-
down.
I mean, if Jim fixes that sidewalk tomorrow, and this is the bottom line question, if a resident fixes their sidewalk tomorrow, and now it's time to go down Skinner Avenue, and I fix my sidewalk, and that tree is still there, but there's no sidewalk repair, what's gonna happen to my tree? That's the bottom line, right? That's not what I understand.
That's not what I'm hearing.
It gets
What I'm hearing
extremely
is
tricky
160 trees
because
coming down.
if that homeowner removed those two pieces, but because the roots were so large, had to cut the root system, now the tree integrity is it's been compromised. So then, how long is that tree gonna live?
Well, at
And
least
then,
25 years.
is it our responsibility when that tree falls on a car that's driving by because it got rotten and hollow because the homeowner cut the root system to keep their tree? So it gets very, very messy, and I'm not trying to fight for a position that
Well, I
is
get
my
it.
personal position. I want to keep every possible tree we can in this town. But if we are going to do a sidewalk program, and we are going to do it right, then the city should remove all of the trees that are causing a liability in the right-of-way. That's my administrative recommendation.
Because a lot of the trees that are in the right of way are not appropriate trees.
They are not appropriate urban trees.
Well, and I would also argue, I think, just from driving around the city and looking up, a lot of those trees, I would guess, that a lot of those trees have been hollowed out in their foliage because of electric lines and everything else, that we've had to take creative license with how we trim the trees so that our wires can move through them, which that alone undermines the health of the tree. And then if we're getting into cutting roots, not only do we destabilize the tree itself, but we're also, again, killing probably that half of a quarter of the tree that we've then taken the roots out of. I think, from a health perspective for that tree, that's not a fair approach to take.
I think if the tree is if the city's taking responsibility for the trees on tree lawns, which I think we are, am I right? Yes. And they're the city's trees.
Correct.
And I think the city has the responsibility of upkeep of those trees, and if we think that those trees need to go, then they need to go. I don't think the homeowner has I guess I'm saying, Jim, I don't think that the homeowner really has a stake in the game if those are the city's trees and the city's.
No, the city has come by every couple of years and they trim the trees, because they are in the electric lines, there's no doubt about that. I guess I just want to make sure that the council understands the arguments that are going to be coming forward that I foresee, and I don't want to anger, and maybe anger unnecessarily in my opinion. You got 160 trees, there could be 320 voters with their families. You still have levies and things like that we have to pass. There's a couple things you don't want to do, and that is irritate people. When you're infringing, they're going to say you're infringing upon my well-being. I can hear the arguments.
Which was our argument from the
And
beginning
I
about
understand
sidewalk
that.
programs, because it's going to take a lot of people off.
Oh,
It's going to make a lot of people
We're
very
going to fill the
upset.
seats, I would venture to say.
Very upset.
But a lot of the people that we have talked to in the field, where they've said, well, what does this mean? And we're like, well, that means that the sidewalk's gonna come out and the tree's gonna come down. They're like, yes, finally, then when
Well,
we have the root
I'm not saying everybody.
in my land.
Right, you're going to have both sides of the spectrum.
Right,
But I also know that when,
right, so that goes with the homeowner's file.
but you're gonna have more example like my example, that for 25 years, this has existed and it's been okay. In fact, the city was the one that helped me dig the roots out.
So I guess.
No one at that point in time said, this is a legal liability, this tree needs to come down.
Oh, it is.
It's a different time,
No, if it was then, it is now.
But Jim, if I recall, you were very, not excited, you were pro getting the sidewalk program back.
Yes,
And so we either do it all the way, in my opinion, we either do it all the way, or we don't do it at all.
Well-
Because this in between, where we say, okay, you have to replace your sidewalk, well, we're not gonna, this one, we're just gonna, because of the tree, and we don't wanna take the tree down and
It's still being-
upset anybody.
It's still being replaced, Katie, at the homeowner's expense. We're actually saving the city money.
So you're saying where our trees have lifted sidewalks,
The
we
city's
should put
trees.
responsibility on those residents?
No, if they want to. They don't have to.
But if they don't want
If they
to,
don't want to, then let it, have them take it down.
If they don't want it, and then like she said, the tree
then we take
fails.
the tree down.
Yeah, but I mean, then
So-
you gotta take it
But we
down.
should have processes and procedures in place. This isn't a set it and forget it program.
So then if
This
they,
is in our ordinances, that we're supposed to be doing this every year.
so it sounds like you're making the recommendation that we pursue a legal way to transfer liability of that
No,
tree
no,
to the homeowner.
I don't think we could, you can't shift that over. I don't think that you can do that legally.
Well, but Jim, if you,
But if we're doing our, right now, the city position has been, we closed our eyes. Since 2010 or 2011, we've done nothing with sidewalk replacement. So now all of a sudden, we're gonna say there's a legal liability? People are gonna look at us and say, well, where you been the last 8 years?
Well, the fact that we're gonna replace it, and it's gonna have longevity.
Where you been the last 8 years if your legal argument is that the city is liable?
So
hold on, so it's not that the city is liable, it's that if you,
council made the decision not to do a sidewalk program. It was not in the budget, it was not taken care of, it was not set aside. No one on council made it a priority. In the last 24 months, council has made it a priority. We have done tons of research and homework. We've had how many work sessions, how many meetings on it?
Not the city.
Council chose to make this a priority.
It is.
Once council made it a priority, then we as administration found a way to implement it in the best fashion we can, and that's what we brought back. That's what was approved by council, that's what we moved forward with, and that's what we're recommending. So the reason that now all of a sudden it's a big deal is because council made it a priority. It is now a big deal.
No, but I think now what's a big deal is the fact that the data came back that it's 160 trees.
Which is why we called an a work session immediately after we found that out, because we thought it was a huge deal. And
Okay.
we wanted to make sure council knew it was going to tick a lot of people off. And we wanted to give council the opportunity to back out if they didn't want to move forward, because 160 trees is a big deal.
Right. And how many actual squares are we replacing? It's not all in front of these 160 people. The sidewalk is a big deal. Throughout the city, it's imperative that we fix these. I'm not arguing with that. I'm arguing the case.
With our
I'm
administrative
arguing the case.
plan on how to implement the project.
And I get that. And so before this goes full tilt in January, when the person comes in, I want to make sure council is aware of the arguments that are going to be coming at us, so that when it is implemented, we're all on the same page and we've heard the arguments.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, those 168 trees, is there a reason why we cannot send 168 letters that say, your tree's coming down?
You guys already told us to
We
do
are
that.
doing
Right,
that.
so I'm guessing at that point, once those letters go out, I don't know when they're going out, but when those letters go out, or have they gone out?
They haven't got it.
Okay, so when those letters go out, to Jim's argument, that's when we're gonna hear about it. And once the letters go out and everybody knows about it, it becomes fact, not we're going to get a lot of calls. We're gonna get them, or we don't get them. If we get them, then we deal with it. If we don't get them, down come the trees. Even if we get them, down come the trees, I'm gathering. But
Right.
I think once, the argument can be either way. Oh, we've got 160, these people are gonna be mad, we're gonna have lots of calls, and sidewalk programs are a pain in the neck, and everything should go, but if this, part of the concern is those trees, then those people need letters to say, hey, we determined that the tree's gonna come down, and open up the phone calls. And I mean,
And we didn't have this discussion when we were having the
well, talk
sidewalk.
about the
program.
letters and the trees.
We talked about the letters, but we didn't have this discussion. I want to make sure
One of
everybody's aware of
one of
ramifications.
One of the things I want to remind you of is that when we started the process of talking about sidewalks, my biggest concern was the liability to the homeowner if somebody should trip or fall on their sidewalks. And the way our current ordinance is written, it is the homeowner's responsibility to keep their sidewalks in good shape. And by not enforcing it as a city, we're saying that we're kind of turning our blind eye, and I think that that sets us up for liabilities too. But I wanted to remind you that, you know, you were really one of the biggest advocates for, if we're gonna be on these homeowners for their sidewalks, then we better fix the city sidewalks first.
Correct.
You were very big on that, and so
Still
that's
right.
what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And if, you know, again, I would just remind everybody, if you're somebody who really likes a tree and values a tree and wants a tree in the front of your home, you can plant one in your yard, and then that's, if it lifts the sidewalk or whatever it does, that's now your responsibility. So I think we have to, you know, I think we have to believe that the city has to take care of its trees and its sidewalks, and homeowners get to take care of their trees and their sidewalks.
I think, I mean, if there is an opposition to this, I mean, if there's 4 council people that want to pull out, we need to do this pretty soon. You
Well,
know?
they've already started, because I had a sidewalk replaced in front of my sewer.
Well, we were going to send letters out to 160 people, let them know the trees were going down before we did anything there.
Well, I haven't
That's what we're doing.
So the squares that they've replaced have not been associated with those trees.
But you're not suggesting that we're abandoning the entire sidewalk program. You're just suggesting that if we get a lot of complaints about the trees, we reconsider what we're doing.
I'm suggesting we tweak the sidewalk program a little bit, and we give the homeowner an option of replacing the sidewalk themselves if the city tree is uprooting in their yard.
Well, what if we continue to uproot it then?
Say again, Paul,
If they continue to uproot after they replace their sidewalks.
25 years, Paul.
That's yours, that's your time.
Well, but
you can't go based on
can't go
anecdotal
based on stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I drank grape juice and suddenly my cancer is healed. Like, that's not going to work throughout the whole city. You know, we have
If
to
it's
look
not
at.
for 160 trees, you're right.
We,
Are
and
there gonna be 160 people that are gonna be yelling and screaming? No, there aren't. There are gonna be some that are, I'm not saying there's gonna be 160 people or 320 people storming the fort. I just wanna make sure that we all understand that there are some tree huggers out there that we're going to hear about it big time.
But Jim,
And I don't want anybody to come back and say that we didn't have this discussion.
Well, Jim, I kind of take offense to the fact that you think not everybody on council has given this its due diligence, that we haven't all sat at the table next to you and heard all these concerns and discussed all these facts and come to all these conclusions along with our administration. Now, I think everybody here understands the weight of 160 trees. And we had a very lengthy discussion regarding the replacement trees and what type of trees they would be, what they would look like, whether or not the integrity of the city would be completely compromised, or if there was a way to maintain a canopy. Like, those are all discussions that occurred. I think at this point, you know, if there's a concern about the program as it's been presented to us, maybe we as a council say, administration, if hiccups come up, we authorize you to be creative and to do what's best for our city as a whole. But we also accept the fact that there's gonna be people that are mad. Every time we pass any legislation in this room, people are mad. The TIF legislation, people are mad about the TIF legislation.
I don't think there's anybody sitting at the table doesn't realize that. What I'm saying though is that we didn't have the discussion about what if a homeowner wants to replace. We did not have that discussion. That's why I'm bringing that up now, because I'm sure there's going to be people that walk through those doors that bring this resolution to this problem.
Well,
And we're gonna tell
can we
them
say
that
that we had
no,
the discussion and we realized that there were kind of legal constraints to the city authorizing the roots being cut out because it could compromise the integrity of the tree, and then who would be responsible?
Okay.
Can we?
And how do you justify
Explain it to them, Jim, they'll
How do we
understand.
justify for the last 8 years then that if we're so concerned about legality, how do we justify to them the last 8 years we've done nothing?
Well, I know, I personally was not on council when that
They
discussion
don't buy
occurred.
that.
But, I mean, why
Well, that's
why
your
at one
opinion.
point did council, prior to me, decide? There was obviously a logical and valid reason at that time for people to take a setback from being concerned about sidewalks.
I believe it was funny.
And that's exactly it. And we say, we're in a better place and we are trying to do better for our residents and for our community.
And it's the same with the roads.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything for years. Does that mean we shouldn't fix the roads?
I think.
Hey, did I ever say not fix the sidewalks? Please don't confuse this. Don't bring up confusion here. This is very simple. The point of the story is this. The sidewalk, I'm not saying we don't go with the sidewalk replacement. What I'm saying is, one particular incident, there is a tree in the tree lawn that is uprooting the sidewalk. Can the homeowner, at their expense, replace those?
And I would say they could have.
If there's three other people that agree with me, fine. If there's not, we've argued this enough. If there aren't three other people, we move with the program the way it is.
I'm gonna make a motion. Good with moving.
Well, I guess the only thing that I want to be sure of is, if those letters go out soon, you know, if he's got 160 people out there that are going to have their trees cut down.
Well, you have to understand, 160 trees aren't gonna come down next year.
Yeah.
This is over a 3 or 4
And you
year
can put it in the
period.
letter.
But you're gonna identify those 160 people. So we'll know very quickly. I think what Christine's getting at is, we'll know very quickly how many people are
So
gonna
if you
be
remember,
actually.
the direction that council gave us was to try and take those out into the 8 different sections that we had broken it down
That's
in.
a recommendation.
That we move through those sections the same way that our residents are gonna move through those sections.
Yes.
And then to break it down into several different letters so that we put the ward representative and the 3 at large on each and every letter. And then we have to go through the postal service and through other entities to try to break it out to how to do the mailing. And that's actually where we're having the biggest problem. How to get those letters to those sections of each ward, because the postal system doesn't work that way. It wants us to do one mass mailing, it doesn't want us to split it out. So that's actually what's been holding us up, is the mailing system, to try to figure out how to put Ward 1 is only Christine Shoup and the 3 at-large people, and then breaking it up by actual address, not just a mass mailing.
Okay, it's 160 letters.
Well, the direction was to send it out to everyone and say, if you have a circle on your front, or identify it somehow, and then only put the ward person and the 3 at large on the letter. That was the direction you
I
guys
remember
gave
that,
us.
I do remember that.
So we've been trying to figure out how to make it happen.
So you, okay, this is gonna sound stupid, and I apologize, but you get them, you write them all up, you put them in envelopes, you put the addresses in it.
Send them
The
out.
No, well, I was gonna say it has to go, I mean,
It has to go regular mail and certified mail.
well, it has to go certified, okay. Why does it have to go certified?
That's the way we are. That's the policy of the
process.
city.
Okay, all right, so going certified, guarantee that they got it.
Right,
So you really, do you need to do 2?
yes. Per our code, we have to do 2, because it's a violation letter, sort of, but it's letting them know.
So we're trying to find a solution to that, on top of everything else, which we will find a solution to, and we can bring that back to council, which was the direction, to bring it back to council. So we are working on it.
I don't see that, I don't, to be honest, in my position, I don't see those letters changing the way it's gonna operate. A tree comes down, a tree comes down, I don't see that, I mean, that's a separate, for me, that's just letting the people know to circumvent some phone calls to really get, if they're gonna complain, I'd rather they
Do it
know
all
about
one shot.
it, rather than they come down the trees down and now they're gonna complain about it.
And I can guarantee you that if we do send some letters out, say you 167 Charlotte Street, then in a very short period of time, the rest of Painesville is going to know that if you have a white circle in front of your house with a tree next to it, then it's probably coming down. So you might as well just send them out all in one shot and get it over with, get it done. Instead of spreading it out over 12 months.
So were you thinking of that?
Well, it's over 3 years, I believe.
4 years, 4 years.
I don't have the money in the budget to do it this year. I don't have the mailing, I don't have the postage. I don't have the person who can sit down and write 160 letters.
Well, we bringing somebody on full-time? in
Well,
January?
Well, right, in January, but you wanted it to come out like right now.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
no. We're-
so I have been working with Kathleen on it, so communications has been working on it.
Okay.
So you don't have to take that burden.
I would say in January, we start, not now, because obviously you don't have the personnel to do it.
Well, I guess we have two issues here, the letters and then the other issue
I
is,
think that there's I think we're crossing council responsibilities with
I think
administration
you're probably
responsibilities
right.
when we start talking about the nitty-gritties of the letters, yes.
That's probably true.
you're absolutely right. You want the letters to go out, how you do it is probably your role. It's not
All right,
ours.
so I guess,
I guess it comes back down into the point that I brought up, is that if there's a white circle in front of a house that the tree's on, that the homeowner could replace the sidewalk themselves at no cost to the city.
I have an interesting thought, or as this is being talked about, I'm thinking to myself, I think what I heard was some of the trees are not tree lawn trees, like oak trees. They're not trees that should be on tree lawns. And I'm wondering, at what point do we wonder if that was just a seed that fell and started to grow? If a homeowner planted that tree
Yes.
themselves? I mean, you can pick it apart. If it's not a tree that should be on the tree lawn, it shouldn't be on the tree lawn, and it needs to come down. And unfortunately, as nice as the tree might be to the homeowner, it's not a tree lawn tree and shouldn't be there in the first place.
silver maple or willow tree or.
Well, I've been living there for 45 years, and it's been there for 45 years, so
Well,
maybe.
Move it back,
Paul
put
wasn't
a
on
big come
council,
along
but,
on it and pull it back.
Joe, do you remember 45 years ago, what trees the city planted?
Still not your tree.
Yeah, it's not your tree.
So, Paul, you want to have
I remember
a
when
feeling around this?
when the utility people carved the trees on Chestnut Street so that they, and there was a whole lot to pay for that.
It's like changing the
Make your
dress code
motion.
in schools.
Make your motion.
I make a motion that we tweak the sidewalk program to indicate that if a homeowner has a white circle on a piece of slab or square in their frontage, that they have the right to replace that at their own cost, following all the guidelines that the city has in terms of sidewalk replacement, and that the tree can stay.
Second. Fortunately, we lacked a second, so, are we done with the presentation? Okay, so, we have, hey, Angie, but do your finance again.
Yeah. You guys haven't been here long enough already, huh?
Administrative reports, law director.
I have nothing.
City manager.
I have nothing to report.
Correspondence, clerk of council.
The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, December 17th at 7:30. Story time with the police department is this Wednesday, December 5th at 6:30. It's a free event held at the police department. Santa will be in the square this upcoming weekend and next weekend. And then private articles are due this Friday, the 7th, for the January 2019 edition.
Do you know who it is?
It's me.
Okay, great. Birthday girl. All right, we have closing comments. Nick?
I just wanted to say how much fun that we had at the Spirit of the Season. This year, the city brought over the horse carriages and the tree lighting, and I saw a ton of people, and my little one loved it. So I think everybody did a great job, and I look forward to seeing what happens with the holiday walk next year.
Jim?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I also, to echo Nick's thoughts, I also want to thank, and send a shout out and thank to Kevin Sindrick. He stayed till 9:30 that night and made sure that every child, even though it ended at 8, he made sure that every child got to see Santa, and he was not gonna be the Grinch, turn somebody away, so I just wanna give a shout out to him and Michelle, because it was wonderful.
Tom?
Pretty much the same thing, even Santa stayed during that night. It was a great event and well attended, and it was a lot of fun. And thank everybody for their hard work they put into it. It was a great event.
Katie?
I just want to echo the same thing about Spirit of the Season. I think that that may have been the highest attended one that I've been to. It was, I mean, the square was packed. Everything was beautiful. It completely showcased our gorgeous downtown. Even the horses were decorated, which was beautiful. And the other thing I wanted to do, this is kind of off topic, but on topic at the same time. I've been attending a lot of events and programs and things like that at our city schools because my son's participating in them. And I just want to commend our school system. I think right now they've really stepped up their game. They've been engaging the residents and their families a lot more, and just really doing purposeful and impactful events with their kids. You know, it's every time I go into Elm Street, it's a good experience. So I just really, I'm starting to see a lot of really great things happening at our schools that I appreciate. That's it.
Nice. Lori?
I echo the spirit of the season. It was a very lovely evening for many, many reasons, but it was good to see all those families out together enjoying the holidays. And I also wanted to remind people about putting up their reflectors or guides for the street snow plows. I know I was able to get mine up yesterday because of the nice weather. So before the ground freezes, get those in again. That's all I have.
Just like to wish Katie a happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And I agree with the spirit of the season. It was a great evening. I was so happy to see so many people out, beautiful lighting of the tree and festive with the Methodist Church and the different shops. So, yeah, it was a wonderful night. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session? I'd like to say this from
I make the motion to adjourn to executive session held in accordance with Article 2, Section 6, parentheses 1, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of an employee or official of the city.
Second. Mrs. Shu?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Denala?
Yes.
Mrs. Jenkins?
Yes.
Mr. Augustine?
Yes.
Mr. Fodor?
Yes.
Mr. Hack?
yes. Great. Thanks for everybody coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.